Hi everyone, it's Brendan from Bestcraftbeer.co.za. Shooting without broadcasts during COVID lockdown. We're well into this lockdown now, so excuse all the hair. But today, something a little bit exciting. Harambe Black IPA from the 400 Brewing Company. The only beer Carl makes. So let's hear from him about this beer before we get stuck in. Okay, Harambe. This is a cult beer in craft beer circles in South Africa, if there was ever one. The fourth version, I believe version 3, I might be mistaken, might not have been released commercially. It just keeps getting bigger. This one's at ABV 11%, 140 IBU, then a big 440ml can. This version has been fermented with Mitbus fake yeast, so a departure on the use of yeast from the other versions. But it's a black IPA, a massive beer. Black IPA is kind of an oxymoron, talking about a black India pale ale, but it's really just referring to the fact that it's a heavily hopped, hop forward beer, taking on inspiration from sort of traditional IPAs, but bringing it into this dark beer frame with all sorts of coffee notes and chocolate notes from the dark malt. So typically with black IPAs, brewers are looking to be a little bit wary with the use of dark malts, not have too much roasted malt astringency interacting with hop bitterness, because the whole thing can get a bit harsh. So they tend to look for as much color and flavor extraction without too much roastiness, too much acridness, and often the choice of malts can be carefully selected for smoothness, so that you don't have this kind of clash between acrid roast character and hop bitterness. So always exciting, always a bit of always gets the heart racing when you're opening a beer that is this bombastic and full of flavor and high ABV and all those hop aromatics. I've had a few of these before. They're an absolute delight, so I'm keen to get into it. Excuse the flies, we've got some horses in this area. Right, let's get a pour on. There you got a kind of porter-like color. It's a little bit of light coming through. It's not sort of jet black, so very much porter-like in its color, but nothing like a porter in the way it smells. So immediately having poured, opened the can from about a foot away, I'm getting all sorts of interesting aromatics, coffee and chocolate, and tons of hops and fruit. What am I getting straight off the bat? Yeah, it smells kind of sweet, a little bit of coffee and chocolate. It's kind of more the hops coming through at this stage than the malt. It is quite cold. This is a perfect example of a beer that is fantastic to drink through a temperature gradient. So serve it cold, warm it up as you go. It's going to start presenting different things as it goes. There you go, some noisy hardy-dars as well, and a bit of thunder. It's all happening. It's perfect timing for Harambe. Yeah, coffee, chocolate, sweets, fruits, orange peel. It's like a dark chocolate orange kind of vibe going on the nose. Okay, let's get stuck in. Lovely up front. sweetness, chocolate and coffee, but very smooth. And then all these hops, the hop fruits start coming on the back of that, and then it finishes with this nice tailing bitterness. It's a real ride. That first sip, coffee, sweet, chocolates, hops, tropical fruits, and then tailing bitterness at the back. They kind of, it's just enough. It's certainly enough to draw you back for another one. It's not. There's a lot of sweetness in the beer. I know Carl said it. The fermentation didn't finish out as much as he had anticipated, which left more residual sugars in the beer. But the bitterness of the hops at the end is just balancing it all out. And in fact, this is one of those beers that's improving with time, in my opinion. Yeah, something that's unique, and I'm just swilling this glass to warm it up, about the Harambe line is it's proven over the years that it just ages beautifully, and it's something you don't expect from IPAs. At normal IPAs of normal strength with pale malt bills, you really do need to get them drunk. You want them off the market and in people's stomachs inside 4 months. But this beer has a track record of improving or developing, changing without sort of losing quality, rather just becoming something more interesting for years. And it certainly happened in the time we've curated the stock of this beer. So it's something that, you can buy a 6-pack and drink one every 3 months, and it's going to sort of offer you something slightly different every time. Okay, I'm just warming it up now. Yeah, just a little bit more malt character coming through. The chocolate and coffee still there. Lovely kind of fruitiness and kind of what's the word, like citrus zest, and I'm just left with this bitterness in the back of my throat that kind of just squares the whole thing up. I know a couple of my friends are really excited about this beer, and they always mention that they're going through the Harambe wormhole, reference to the strength of the beer, but also the fact that it's quite a trippy experience. It's a really exciting, interesting beer to drink. Thanks for listening. Cheers.